Welcome, everyone, to Your Hometown Solutions. I'm your host, Jean Newell, and in the studios with me today is my co-host, Jonathan Lack. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Jean, and I hope you had a happy holiday.
I did, and we're going to be having some fun on this show because we're going to be just talking about some of the things that we find kind of funny and interesting about real estate, about financing. If there's such a thing as funny and interesting, I think there is. Jonathan Lack is with Waterview Realty. He's a broker owner. He also is the owner of Waterview Title Services and is the owner of Lack & Lack Chartered Attorneys at Law, and he specializes in real estate. So we always have a wealth of information, and we try to make sure that you, our listening audience, has a lot of information that you can use, whether it's buying, selling, refinancing, saving your home from foreclosure, some opportunities out there to help you with your mortgage payments. It doesn't matter what it is. We have all kinds of information. So I would say before you think in one area, maybe you think, let's just give an example. A lot of people, maybe they have just lost their job, which would be terrible to have just lost your job around the holidays. Or like we even said when we had a hurricane a couple weeks ago, I guess a couple months ago now, when was it Matthew? Was that the name of it that came through? For an example, it tore off the ceiling or roof of a grocery store, a Winn-Dixie, and those people all got laid off until they could rebuild and give them a new job. Well, a lot of times you can't go 2, 3, 4, 5 months without employment. So there's some opportunities out there where the government has monies for you to pay your mortgage payment. We had FEMA on a few weeks ago, and they told about the different services that they have when there's a disaster. So bottom line is, I'm going a long way around this, but there's lots of things out there that the average Joe, and that's just about everyone, including myself. I learn something almost every day. The average Joe doesn't know is available for them because if it is a government program, they don't have the money to advertise on TV and so forth about some way that you can garner funds. It's sort of like getting a grant. A lot of people go, well, I didn't know I could have gotten a grant for this or that because they don't advertise these different grants. And it's sort of like that. So there's a lot of things out there. There's a program to help you reduce the principal equity in your home. What's the legal?
The principal reduction program.
Reduction program, thank you. Where, give just a little footnote on what that is about.
Well, the two primary programs you just touched on, the Florida Hardest Hit Fund program, which is a program designed for unemployed or underemployed homeowners, where the program will make your mortgage payment for you during your period of unemployment or underemployment. So again, the example you described with the Winn-Dixies, there are people who are unfortunately unemployed, sometimes permanently, sometimes temporarily. But if you have an unemployment situation, so you're not able to make your mortgage payment, there is a program out there, the Florida Hardest Hit Fund, and it will assist you, not assist you, it will make your mortgage payment for you during your period of unemployment or underemployment. And I keep stating underemployment. Underemployment is defined as a 10% reduction in your income. So let's say you had a job and you were laid off and you've got a new job, but you're making 10% less than you were making in your old job. Now, there are other eligible criteria, so I'm oversimplifying it, but it is a pretty broad program, and many people who have been unemployed or underemployed do qualify for this program. To find out more, you can click on the link on my website. The website is lacklaw.com. That's LACKLAW.com. And in the middle of the page, there's a link to the Florida Hardest Hit Fund program. And again, this is a government program. This is not run through Lack & Lack Chartered. We are simply advisors to the program. So it is a federally funded state program, and you can learn more about it.
Yeah, learn more about that. I know we touch on this on most of our shows. We try to mention it only because so many people can qualify and are not aware of it. But again, we want to give you a little overview of some of the things that are out there, and maybe in just a couple sentences talk about the reduction program.
Right. The principal reduction program is a related program. Again, government, it's a federally funded state program, and that's designed for a different group of people. Those who are current on their mortgage, they're making their mortgage payment, they just unfortunately owe more than their home is worth. If you owe more than 115% of your mortgage, your your mortgage debt is more than 115% of the value of your home. So easy math, your house is worth $100,000 and you owe $116,000. So you owe more than 115%. This program will pay up to $50,000 to reduce your debt down to 100% debt. So again, using simple math, you owe $115,000 and your house is worth $100,000. The government will give you $15,000 so that you now only owe $100,000. If you happen to owe $170,000 and it's worth $100,000, they'll only give you $50,000. So it's up to $50,000, and so you'll still owe a little bit more. But again, this is essentially free money, and the purpose of it is...
They can find out at your LAC.
Yeah, you can, again, click on the site through laclaw.com. The purpose of the program, just to put it out there, is so that when you're making your mortgage payment, as you have been doing under the principal reduction program, you're starting to get of what feels like paying rent because you're paying your mortgage every month and you still owe more than the house is worth. In this case, now, as you're making your mortgage payment, you're building equity and you have value in your home like that we all want.
The only thing I don't like about the internet, and I go back a long time where you actually drove people around in the car and you get to know people and you find out sometimes when you're driving them around for a couple of days that what they originally told you that they were interested in, you find out because of definitions that are different. We talked about that on various shows, and upcoming shows will probably touch on that again. How our language barriers sometimes get in the way, but eventually, if you're along with someone long enough, you find out that their definition of something is different, and you get an idea of what they really need and what they really want. But now with the internet, so many people just shop on the internet and then they call us just to let them in a house. And sometimes we don't get the opportunity to really service them the way we used to. So that's the thing that you might want to just kind of file away, that before you start going out there, it might be a good idea to touch base with one of us and find out exactly what you're looking for. May or may not be exactly what you need, and we can go into that a little bit more. But one of the things that I always tell people to do, and we always have Carolyn Wolf on with Certified Mortgage Planners, is you want to find out from the professionals exactly what you have in mind, because here's what usually happens, Jonathan. I don't know if you've noticed this as well. We get people from the north, and they come down, and they only know two things. It's either a condo or a house. They don't know that there's some gray area in there. So condo to them means an apartment on the beach, that they're going to make a monthly payment and they're going to live in an apartment. A condo to most people mean an apartment on the beach. So a typical person, they're coming in from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and their kids have said to them, Mom and Dad, you don't need that big house anymore with the basement. Just get yourself a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo and Florida, retire, don't worry about taking care of lawns or painting and all this. And they come down asking us to show them apartments after living in a home all their years and all their life. And there's a lot of people that love living in a condo. Maybe they've come from an urban area and they're used to living in the air. They're used to living in an apartment, and a condo's not a big lifestyle change. But I've noticed when people come in and they say, just show me 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos, that they're not happy seeing what they're looking at in the beginning, because that isn't really what they want. What they want is they don't want to have to do physical maintenance. So there's all kinds of words that mean something different. There's houses that are set up like we've discussed, you and I before, on they're set up like a condominium. They're set up like a homeowners association, where you actually have your own house, your own yard, your own garden, but maybe you don't do the maintenance. So it gives you the luxury of living a condo, in quotation, a condo lifestyle, but you still have a single family home. So there are a wide variety of gray area between a condo and a house. And that's what I feel like a detective sometimes. I try to figure out exactly where they're going with this, because if I find out that they're coming from a large home and they're just looking at something, then they're downsizing big time from maybe a 4-bedroom house with a basement and a 2-car garage, and they're looking at 1,500 square feet 2-bedroom condos. It's seldom that they end up buying that. So I don't know, are you finding that as well, Jonathan?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've talked and we'll talk again and repeatedly. Our goal on this show and with our clients in person is to learn what they're looking for and ask those pointed questions, because they don't always know what they're looking for until you start asking questions, and then you get the oh, I didn't think of that. Exactly. You're right, that's what I want. So it's very important to have a real estate agent such as Jean Newell with Waterview Realty, or somebody you can talk to who can talk back to you. It's great to do the online shopping. I welcome you to visit our new and improved website of waterviewre.com, where you can shop for homes right there online and narrow things down, see different options, and there's even, frequently asked questions and things you can do online. But when push comes to shove, you want to speak with a human being who knows the area, who knows the business. Jean, I don't want to disclose how long you've been in this business, but it's many, many, many years.
I've been in real estate now longer than I've been alive.
There you go.
People always say, if I have to disclose my age or something, I'll say, do you want my real age or my Facebook age? It's a different one.
So with that, with many years of experience, and myself as well as a real estate attorney, I've been doing this for not quite 30 years yet, but I'm getting close now. And with that kind of experience, we've learned to ask the right questions that you might not have thought of. And we know the areas. And so even though you might think you want this, we'll show you what you want, but then we'll show you what we think you really are looking for. And more often than not, our experience, is correct. And you're like, oh, you're right. That is what I was looking for. So you talk about condominiums and homes and that gray area in between. That word that's used is townhomes, and people don't always understand what a townhome is, but there are different forms of ownership, legal ownership regarding townhomes, condominiums, single-family homes. But you can find maintenance-free homes, as you're saying, that people might be looking for that may or may not be called a condominium. So
exactly. So a lot of times people use the word condo because in their mind that means there's no maintenance. So those are all the things that I had a person just yesterday actually say this to me. They said, you're not just a real estate agent or a realtor. You're a marriage counselor. You're a therapist. You have to be a mind reader. And if you can combine all those things, that's wonderful. Because I can remember many years ago when I was sitting a big golf course community here in the Space Coast, and we had everything for sale, from townhouses to houses to condos, everything. And people would usually be looking on the beach with a real estate agent, and they have come down and they're just wording out and they're mouthing out exactly what their family told them to say. I want a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, because that's what their family told them. That's what they need to ask for. And so that poor agent over on the beach side was showing them nothing but beachside condos. And then for whatever reason, they'd wander mainland over to the golf course community that I was at, and come to find out they really didn't want to live in the air. They wanted a house, but they didn't know, like we were saying, that you can get a villa, you can get a house. You live 55 plus communities where the physical maintenance is taken care of for you. Perhaps you'll pay for that monthly, pay a monthly maintenance. But if that's what you're looking for, there are all kinds of things out there. So keep that in mind. We try to be a little bit more past a mind reader. I said we feel like more like detectives, because if you really, I always like to take the what they've said and then turn it around. And one of the stories that I always like to tell is kind of comical. I had a person come in to one of the developments I was working at the time, and they asked for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath little villa, which I was selling, and we had all different sizes, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and so forth. And I always ask people, and I try to do it as tactfully as I can. And I said, all right, 2 bedrooms, 2-bath. And I knew they were coming from a little bit larger home. And I said, pardon me for asking you this. I know 1 bedroom's going to be your master bedroom. What are you going to use the 2nd bedroom for? And it was almost comical, because in unison, the husband and the wife both said something different. The husband said, it's going to be my office. And the wife said, it's going to be my sewing room. They both turned to each other like they'd never seen each other in their life. And they go, what? And so they both had an idea what that 2nd bedroom was for. Nobody had ever asked them what they were going to use the 2nd bedroom for. So because I had talked with them previously, I found out that their grandchildren came down for a month during the summer. And I said, well, the second bedroom, were you planning on having the grandchildren stay there for the month? Oh, they're not staying in my sewing room. And he said, they're not staying in my office. So I said to them, so what I hear you saying, it's like a therapist, what I hear you saying is you need 2 bedrooms